questions for oral answer. Question number 1, the name of the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. This question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by his statement that, quotes, "Personally, I've been of the view that transparency is a good thing. As Prime Minister, I've tried to lead that charge." End of quotes.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, I stand by that statement, which was made in the context of discussing reform of MPs' remuneration and travel privileges and transparency around expenses.
Any question?
Supplementary question, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Could he explain to the country and the House how he is leading the charge on transparency with respect to the TPP negotiations when, in his words, quotes, "We do not know exactly." That's a communist country, one-party state. Thank you very much. Quotes. In the Prime Minister's words, "We do not know what is actually on the table and what is off." End of quotes.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, we're following the same process that has been followed for all other FTAs, including the China FTA.
Supplementary questions?
Order. Order. Supplementary question, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Why is he trying to keep the New Zealand public in ignorance of TPP negotiating terms and details when the European Commission, in a similar deal with the United States, the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, is releasing both the proposed investment chapter and a layperson's explanation for public consultation?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, for a starter, all members of TPP, all 12 countries, have agreed to keep negotiating text confidential. Secondly, our negotiators are negotiating in the best interest of New Zealand, and you wouldn't think actually that we would go out there and want to give an advantage to the other countries we're negotiating with.
Supplementary question. Order. Order. Supplementary question, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Is the Prime Minister aware of the likely date of the text being tabled in the United States Congress, and can he confirm that that will be before the mid-term elections and well before it has the opportunity for ratification?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, no one knows that date because TPP itself hasn't been concluded yet.
Supplementary question, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Why is the Prime Minister arguing for secrecy in negotiations when it's common practice in the World Trade Organisation to release negotiating texts?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, it's not common practice with the way that free trade agreements have been negotiated in this country. The member's quite aware, actually, that we have a very thorough parliamentary process. At the point at which a text has been agreed, then it'll go through the full process, including going off to the FATIC Select Committee for input from the public.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Does ratification by Parliament represent transparency when by that time the public would have had and will continue to have no say in the negotiations, and what is in the negotiations and the discussions? Struck a nerve, obviously. What is in the negotiations and discussions that is of such... Oh, look, Mr Speaker, I would like to try and get this question out. It's rather serious.
Order. The member has already got the first question out. He's actually asking a second supplementary question within it, but it would assist the order of the House if the member could complete his question without interjections.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does ratification by Parliament represent transparency when by that time the public would have had and will continue to have no say in the negotiations, and what's in the negotiations and the discussions that are of such concern to him and his government that they presently want to keep it all secret from the New Zealand people?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, a few things. Firstly, my advice is that TPP will require legislation. So ultimately, once it's gone through the Select Committee and public have had their chance to have input and it's gone through all of those various stages, ultimately the government of the day will require a parliamentary mandate. So by definition, people would have had a lot of input. The second thing, the consultation process undertaken by TPP are amongst the most extensive a New Zealand government has undertaken for any trade negotiation. Public comment on the TPP was first sought in 2008 and has been invited since. Negotiators have conducted a proactive consultation process that has included regular meetings with business groups, local councils, the health sector and other representatives, unions and other NGOs and other individuals and academics. Opposition parties have also been briefed on negotiations as we go along. Mr Speaker, I think we all know that Mr Peters is opposed to free trade. This is the man who voted against the China FTA. Well, good luck, but they happen to be our second largest trading partner and almost certainly one day be our largest.
Order. Order. Supplementary question, Brendan Horan.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Would the Prime Minister think there would be transparency in an entity submitting multiple OIA requests in a made-up name, such as, for example, Bruce Bayliss? And does he think such a practice would be transparent enough for a political party research unit?
Right, Honourable.
Speaker.
Order. Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I have no evidence to support that Mr Bayliss is putting in OIA requests under a pseudonym or false name, but I am aware that Mr Bayliss is associated and works for New Zealand First.
Question number 2, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Order. Order.